Welcome to the first public consultation meeting for the 2026 budget for the City of Peterborough. I'm Yvette Poplinski, Director of Financial Services for the City. City staff began the 2026 budget process in April of this year, and it's an ongoing process, so the information in this presentation is preliminary and may change before the draft budget is presented to Council in November. The presentation today includes information about items identified that will impact the 2026 budget and the mayor's, as well as the mayor's direction to staff for preparing the draft budget. The mayor's direction included maintaining the current service levels approved by council for the 2025 budget, with increases related to inflation, 2026 costing adjustments, council approved changes, and legislative requirements. His direction also included an anticipated 10% increase for the Peterborough Police Service due to legislative requirements and changes in the Police Act. This pie chart shows a breakdown of the 2025 approved operating budget revenues of totaling $413.4 million. The operating budget tax requirement for 2025 was $183.8 million, with the remaining $229.6 million being funded by user fees, grants, funding from the province, federal, and other municipal governments, investment income and reserves. Property taxes account for approximately 45% of the total operating revenues for the city for 2025. This pie chart shows how the 2025 operating budget was allocated between city departments and transfers to other organizations, totaling $413.4 million in gross expenditures. Much of the city's spending is for legislated requirements and provincial program delivery and essential services. Property taxes and other revenues in the budget are used to fund operating costs, which include heat, electricity, and maintenance costs for all city facilities, the wages of the staff that deliver services and programs like recreation, social services, garbage collection, plowing, roads and sidewalks, transit drivers, police and fire services, and cultural services such as the museum, library, and art gallery. The operating budget also includes debt payments as well as transfers to other organizations such as Fairhaven, the DBIA, ORCA, and Peterborough Public Health, and the Peterborough County Paramedics. This pie chart shows how the 2025 capital budget was allocated between city departments, totaling $149.6 million in total expenditures. Capital costs across the city include such items as road and bridge construction, storm and sanitary sewer networks, purchases of major pieces of equipment and fleet, including such as snow plowing equipment, fire trucks, transit buses, sidewalk reconstruction, landfill and source separator organics facility maintenance and equipment at the wastewater treatment plant and water utility service, and major capital renovation projects such as the police station in 2025. Some key operating budget impacts for 2026 that have been identified by staff to date include a 10% increase for police service as directed by the mayor. That equates to $3.8 million increase over the 2025 approved budget for the police. Based on research to date, staff are forecasting a general inflation increase of 2% for 2026, and this equates to $3.6 million in the affected costs over the 2025 approved budget. Compensation for all staff at rates included in collective agreements or previously approved by council, as well as legislated amounts such as contribution rates for statutory deductions and an estimate of the health benefits cost for staff, totals $2.3 million over the approved 2025 budget. The housing and homelessness amount of $1.2 million was funded by the Social Services Reserve in 2025. However, to maintain this service level into 2026, this needs to be funded by property taxes, as there are not sufficient reserve funds available to maintain this without raising property taxes. So that will be an increase of $1.2 million over the approved 2025 budget. PCCP, which is the Peterborough City County Paramedic Service, and the health unit are estimated at a 3% increase each over their approved 2025 budgets, and that totals $276,000. Staff are also recommending a $250,000 increase to the city's contingency line, which will bring the total contingency to $1.25 million for 2026. This is approximately 0.25% of the city's total operating budget, which is quite low for a municipality of our size. And this would be used to fund any issues that arise throughout the year, which have not been anticipated when the budget is approved. Other outside agencies include Fairhaven, ORCA, DBIA, VBIA, and the Innovation Cluster. The total increase for these agencies is set at 2%, which is the same as the general inflation rate, and this totals $180,000 over the 2025 approved budgets for these organizations. Insurance, an early estimate of the city's anticipated cost for 2026 is an 8% increase, which equates to $169,000. Fuel for the city fleet of vehicles is estimated to be a decrease in tax requirement based on the removal of the carbon tax from fuel pricing, which is partially offset by a forecasted increase in fuel prices for 2026. This may be further affected by a change in volume of fuel required, and that estimate will be refined as staff continue to work through the draft budget process. So with all of these key operating impacts for 2026, they total $11.4 million increase over the 2025 budget. Preliminary budget assumptions for key capital budget impacts for 2026 include a 2% increase in the capital financing as approved by council with the 2025 budget. This will provide 2%. This will provide an additional $4.5 million towards the capital needs of the city. The impact of the sewer surcharge from water rate and wastewater protection surcharge totals $863,000. This increase is based on the estimated water services rate and includes an improved increase as the 8th year of a 10-year water resource protection program, which was approved by council previously. And then there are some other minor capital financing pressures, which total $116,000 for total capital budget impacts for 2026 of $5.5 million. This is a summary of all of the budgetary impacts I've identified in the previous slides. The total operating and capital impacts are $16.9 million as shown on column 3 on row 27. This equates to an increase in the all-inclusive rate of 7.44%. At this time, this represents the amount staff are estimating will be required to maintain the service levels approved in the 2025 budget with costs adjusted for inflation legislation requirements, items previously approved by council, and the mayor's direction. The preliminary all-inclusive rate increase of 7.44% equates to an increase in property taxes of $148.20 per $100,000 of assessment. For the median assessed residential property in the city, this equates to an annual increase of $385.32 for 2026. The city's budget process includes several opportunities for public input and consultation. The first of these was the budget survey, which was open from April 8th to the 25th. We received 143 responses. The survey included questions asking respondents to rank the importance of various municipal service groups and issues, consider revenue tools the city has available to balance the budget, select what they think the property tax change should be for 2026 based on their expectations for infrastructure and service levels, and also provide comments about the budget in general. A full summary of the responses is available at connectptbo.ca/2026 budget. Further opportunities for public input include this evening's meeting, as well as similar meetings which will be held on November 6th and November 10th. The public can also register as a delegation at the council meeting on November 10th after the draft budget has been presented. All information received from the public will be provided to council and staff preparing the budget for consideration in the draft 2026 budget. Information about the city budget and interactive tools are available on the city website, as well as on connectptbo.ca, where additional resources are also available, and you can share comments about the 26 budget. Key dates in the 2026 budget process are listed on this slide, beginning with the opening of the survey on April 8th, and including this evening's meeting on June 19th, as well as the upcoming council meeting on June 30th. The draft 2026 budget will be presented to council on November 3rd, followed by public consultation meetings and a drop-in opportunity on November 6th and November 10th. On November 10th, City Council will hear public delegations, and then on November 17th and 18th, they will review the budget in detail and discuss any recommendations they want to make. On December 8th, it is anticipated that the 2026 budget will be adopted. So thank you for your attendance at this meeting and your participation in the city's budget process.